my name is Joyce. Today I'm going to be talking about some good older sister advice for the overly ambitious. This is for those who are big dreamers, big believers, people who have a lot of energy and are excited to put that energy towards bettering their life, having a really cool life, and especially those who want to be living way different than the people around them too. Having those goals are really amazing and awesome, and I think it is a very natural thing for a lot of us to do, just as we're thinking, we get into a state of mind or a place of being and we're like, hey, you know what, there's XYZ that could make this better, or how can I have, a more heightened experience in this, or maybe sometimes we're coming from a place where it's like, oh man, currently I am in this position and I don't really want to be here. And I know that in the future I can get to this place that I do want to be if I just work really hard towards it and if I just, keep my mind focused. And as someone who is an older sister of two of my younger siblings, right, I have had to be the first person to just kind of venture out and figure all this out for myself and assess and realize and come to my learnings, and then also tell my younger siblings, here's what I've learned, but definitely for you it could look different because everyone's life path is different. Everyone themselves are different. And with that, I wrote down a few bullet points of things that I wanted to talk about to keep me on track. But my first point here is for those who are overly ambitious, who have those big dreams and delusions of grandeur pretty much, right? I highly recommend to brain dump your to-do list all the time. And I'm not necessarily type B, but I'm a very creative person. So what I like to do with my to-do list is color code them, or even map it out as if it were a drawing. In bubbles or in stars or in little flower shapes that I draw. That's probably just my eccentric artisticness there. But I think it's incredibly important to just kind of have a mental flush of, okay, top of the morning, top of the day, I'm, prepping myself to work, and this is my brain dump. And this is everything that is on my mind currently. And what is so good about a brain dump is that you can just kind of see at a full view, everything that is on your mind and that you want to do for the day. And then you can kind of step back and be like, okay, whoa, that's a little insane. I'm expecting a lot from myself, especially if you do have that gauge at this point. I think for overly ambitious people, we tend to overshoot and we're like, oh no, it's fine. And then we spend more of our energy than we expected or than we planned out to. More of our energy than we even have, really. And then the next day we can feel so incredibly depleted or tired or drained, depressed, just, as a result of investing yourself so much in the first stage of this, right? So my recommendation here is just to brain dump so that your energy doesn't go into doing the things yet, but it goes into thinking about the things. And then you can assess, okay, what here are priority? And then you do pick a limiting amount of priorities. I had a manager once tell me, anything that you have in mind that you're gonna tell me that you're gonna get done by a deadline, whatever, take that deadline and times it by 3. Because it doesn't matter, how quick and speedy you are to do something. Anything can happen, and so by the time that you're already in motion and you're working on the thing and you sat down to do it, it's going to take you 3 times as much time as how much you can typically do it. And just give yourself that leeway. Anything happens, it truly did. It happened all the time, and I was like, okay, this is a learning lesson for myself and for the corporate environment, the full-time work environment, the 9 to 5, where it's I'm expectation managing for my manager, yes, but also for myself. So it's I don't get to work and I'm depleted and drained and overwhelmed by how many things I have to do. When you're in school, it's a very different story. You're set a deadline. You're set that homework deadline, that project deadline, that essay deadline, and you are expected to meet it. And if you don't meet it, you know, hope to God that you have a lenient professor to kind of give you that leeway and be like, oh no, it's fine, you know, you can get that into me a week, 2 weeks later, if they're that nice. But truly, it's in it this educational phase, it's a lot of personal management of your own expectations. So brain dumping, having that full list out in a quick view, and then selecting like those 3, 4, 5 top priority things, they're definitely going to help you just, you know, realize, okay, like I personally I have the energy for more, yes, but I know to conserve my energy so that I have, you know, retain it for later, I'm going to just pick a very limited amount from this ambitious to-do list. And then my second point here is that when you do, you know, set out into motion the things that you're hoping to do, you do check off those things on your to-do list. The only thing that you can really control is the output. You can't really control the reaction, the once your to-do goes out into the world and like people are seeing it, they're engaging or interacting with it, you can't necessarily control that outside environment. And so from that, it might seem like you put in all this energy and all this work to just like do something that's like stupid, that doesn't even matter. A good example for this is in content creation and in social media, where, you know, you put your heart and soul and a lot of time and energy and thought into this content idea that you have, and then, okay, all of a sudden, like, you know, it flops, or someone gets offended, or you get a hate comment, or, you know, it didn't get the reception that you wanted, and you're kind of left there like, oh man, like, what did I do all that work for? And you're like, is this even, you know, is there even a point to this? Am I on the right track? You know, what am I doing wrong? There's all this kind of dooming going on. But I want to say, and this is the second main point, your mistakes are necessary. Your mistakes are so necessary to understand how your work is interacting with the world around you and how you can move forward from that. Because if you just constantly release bangers, like, it's just like there's nothing interesting for you in that. There's nothing, you know, that you can learn from that helps you be better. You're just already great. And then if you're already great and you're already like, if it's so easy for you to achieve your goals, and, you know, like, why would you even put in the effort? You would just kind of like, you know, put your feet up and be like, oh, well, you wouldn't have that ambition anymore. And so your mistakes are necessary. And I will also say that the mistakes are necessary because it helps you understand what you like about the goals that you have in mind. Because when we set out and we have a goal in mind, we're like, oh, it's going to be amazing. Like, you know, I'm going to be at a beach, and then I'm going to be like, you know, enjoying the waves and like this tropical environment. I'm trying to like imagine a dream scenario, and you know, the weather's gonna be great. Like, say you planned out this vacation and everything, and like all the circumstances are gonna be like perfection in your eyes, and then when you get there, it's actually, oh, monsoon season or something, and it's like super rainy and horrible, and then you realize, oh wow, you know, I needed to prep better for this. I needed to take these things into consideration. Or say like the circumstances are perfect, like you get everything that you do want, the vacation goes amazing, and then it's just like, I don't really like the beach. And you can only really know if you like set out and try in the first place. Like, you'll never really know that if you just like, you know, stay scared and you don't do the things that you're ambitious about, and you're like, oh man, like I don't know if I can even achieve that, so why try? Because trying helps you understand what you like about that for your own sake. And also, if you want to keep trying at that, then you understand how to do it better. And once you, say that you don't even like it in the first place, right? That's information for you to pivot into something that you do like. Something that is probably way closer to like what you're trying to get to anyway. The other point I have here is to ask yourself why a lot. Just ask yourself why you want that goal. Why is it important to you? Especially for those goals that feel like you just need to like achieve it like right now. Like, oh my god, like if I could get a video to blow up to 1 million views, like that would be amazing. Like I wish I could have that right now. Like why? And sometimes the obvious answer is like the easiest answer, because it's like, yeah, I want a video to blow up because I want the clout. I want, the energy, the hype that comes with having a viral video. I want that acknowledgement and recognition too, the validation that what I'm doing is working. And that's incredibly valid. That makes 100% sense. And you're not wrong for wanting that. But I'd ask here, is there anything that you can feel right now that can help you not need to get to that thing first? Can you feel validated in your own efforts right now and recognize like, oh, I'm doing everything that I can. I am a lot different than than who I was a few years ago, because she would have haven't even tried to do something like this. I feel validated now. I recognize the effort that I'm putting into myself and into this goal here, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. And while it would be nice to have that recognition, that praise from other people too, that's not my end goal. My end goal is almost like a study in your own self-confidence. It's almost like, I'm doing all these steps because I feel this way about myself. So I'm looking for the other signs in the world that affirm that to me. And it takes time. It's not like an immediate, I'm self-confident and I believe in myself, so therefore I'm going to post this video and everybody's going to believe in me. No, it takes time to find those people that do believe in you. You have to sift through the people that really don't believe in you. And then you find the ones that do. And that's an amazing feeling. But during the time that you are, I just so anxious. I want to say anxious to achieve that goal. Where is that anxiety from? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that you won't achieve it? And it's you're going to put in all that effort for nothing? Do you not trust yourself? There are so many layers in the why that can help you pad this experience and reduce the amount of pressure that you put on yourself for these goals. Because these goals, they are important to you at the end of the day. It's not like, you mustered up this goal. It's like, oh, I want to be wealthy one day. And it's like, you didn't muster up that goal out of nowhere. There is a valid reason for why you feel like you want to be wealthy one day. But then asking yourself why, and then recognizing, okay, what is something I can feel now that, my wealthy self, they would definitely feel. And I can kind of envision that. One, it makes you more excited towards that goal. But two, it lessens the gap between your current self and who you are in the future. Because it's like, oh, I feel that wealth now. I feel that comfort. I feel that recognition. I feel that security now. And so because of that, I'm not desperate to be getting at this goal. This goal doesn't define me. And you can lead from there. And then another place, and this is my fourth bullet, another place to lead that I think will always positively serve you is to lead from gratitude. Because when you lead from gratitude, you recognize how far you've come and how much work you've put into this goal, into your current self right now, that, it didn't just come out of nowhere. You worked really hard to get there in the first place. And recognizing your hard work now will help you recognize it in the future too. Because in my experience, I went through all the motions of like, okay, high school, college, got the good grades, got the degrees, did everything right. And at the very end of it, it felt like that was it. And not like, oh, that was easy. But it's like, I did all that to myself. I spent countless hours working, stressed myself, was crying myself for the grade, for the accolade, for the award, just to get here. And it almost felt like the graduation was bound to happen. It almost felt like, duh, like I was going to get here anyway because of how hard I was working towards it. Of course I was going to graduate. And it felt like that when I got my first full-time job too. Like after college, it's every like new grad's horror story. Where after you graduate college, you're in the workforce, and you're like, oh my God. And you're like, I am a fish out of water. What do? I need to find the ocean right now to feel safe. And then you get that first job. And you're like, is this what all the agony was for? And while the point may have strayed a little from what I'm talking about now, it's so incredibly important to be grateful for the place that you're at. Because sure, yes, by the time I had graduated and by the time I'd gotten that first job, I was like, Jesus, like this was what all the stress was about. But because I realized that, I was able to feel grateful because I wouldn't have wanted to be in the position prior to that anymore. And I realized, I could have been way easier on myself. I could have went about my whole journey with the security of knowing in time, because I'm working so hard to get there, in time it will come. And once it comes, it's going to feel like I barely did any work to get there. But once it comes, I'm going to be very grateful. I want to say that it's very easy to feel that it didn't need any extra work to get there. That's why, once you do achieve that goal, it's like, is this it? It's not the feeling that you're chasing. That chase is in the absence of it. Because currently, where you're at right now, you're like, oh, you're dreaming, and you're like, it's going to be so great when I get there. And then you do get there and you realize that it's not all that. And so many people have talked about it in those ways. I think about Olivia Rodrigo, right? I was just listening to the song Making the Bed. But even when you are at the place where you did make it, like me currently, to my high school self, she made it. And I have to recognize to myself right now, yes, I did make it. Because to my high school self, this is where I wanted to be all along. But then I guess to my 30-year-old self, I need to have the trust of thinking, okay, you know what? We got it. You made it. So therefore, I'm going to trust that it's all going to work out. So that kind of concludes the end of my big sister advice. The sun is all up in my grill now, and this car has gotten really hot. But I hope this was helpful. And, let me know in the comments your big sister advice too, or any kind of mantras, advice that you've gotten along the way during like these kind of big journeys and stretches of your life, working towards these goals, that help affirm to yourself, like, yeah, one day, like I'm working towards it now, but one day it will happen. I have faith, I have trust that it's going to happen. And so all I can do now is just kind of chill and then work at it. That's it. Hope this was helpful. Until next time. Bye.